Hi everyone, I am here today to talk about my 2026 goal planner. So if you are new here, welcome. I do videos about planning that tends to lean more when you have a super busy 9 to 5 corporate job, but also very much trying to balance self-care and just living every day to the best as you can with everything that we all have going on. So this planner is a Gillio Personal Wide in Cloud, and it is one of my favorite colors. You could nearly tell by my nails as well. But this is a subset of my bigger planner that I had a few other videos on, but it's this big A5 rings from Cloth and Paper, and this is my 5-year plan goal setting calendar. And I thought 2025 was the 5th year and I was going to reflect, but 2026 is the 5th year. So we have wellness, personal, financial, and professional areas. And I flipped through this in a prior video, so you can check that out if you would like. And this video will focus on the last of the years of a 5-year plan, which is unreal. So what I have done is, as I've set intentions for each area 4 years ago, now almost 5 years ago, I've looked back through each of those sections to say, what did I write? So to start 2022, where did I want to be 5 years from now? At the time, again, that video has a lot of personal detail if you are interested in hearing about that. But this last year, 2026, is what I am going to be planning in this calendar. So I was saying I went back to each section where I had broader goals that I wanted to focus on, or I should say more narrow goals, but specific for this year. And I'm going to reflect back on what I drafted. So I pre-planned only a little bit on these quarters. These are quarterly planning sheets. They are old, so if you'll notice, it's a hodgepodge because I didn't buy a brand new set for this year. I'm trying to use up what I already have. So this is 2024. So I might like print some calendar stickers and place it over these so that it is for 2026. I don't often look at those dates though. It's simply just a reminder of the month, at least the way I use it. And so April, May, June. So, and then quarter 3, and then quarter 4. And this works out well for me the way I like to plan because it also aligns with our quarters for work. So if I decide to merge something together, I can pretty easily. And then since it's January, I'll write through at least the first quarter what I plan. I try not to get too ahead of myself because I know myself, and then I somehow just end up setting myself up. It just feels like I'm setting myself up to fail because I don't even know what's going to happen in 3 months, but I'm still going to plan for it. So I'm going to write some goals and activities that I want to be sure I get done. And this can serve as a little mini habit tracker or a routine tracker. Now, I'm not going to get into each month because while I'm going to have a January, February, March broad Q1 plan, I'm still then going to be able to reflect after January or towards the end of January, and then be able to plan more specifically for February. So I'm going to fill this out. I'll be doing the setup, and if fast forward, I will do my best to put a timestamp so that you can jump ahead if you just want to see the final setup. But I'm going to do this section so you can see how in early January, I can plan for the quarter. And then I'm simply going to just focus on what do I know I can do in January, and what maybe I use all of these goals, maybe I don't. This paper actually was hacked because it was an A5 goal set from Cloth and Paper, as you can see that random hole. But I cut down on my paper cutter just simply the square boxes because I believe this size layout was intended for this A5 that I have, but this was weekly, and that was a lot mentally. Like I could feel anxious looking at it to plan for it. So I just trimmed it down and said, this is enough to try and plan for a month ahead. Like that is plenty to try and track. So that's what I'm going to do today. And I'm excited to do it. I look forward to doing this every year because it gets me like on the hook to be accountable. And then the third level is my habit tracker, where I then am able to track smaller or at a day-to-day level what I intend to do, like out of what I have written down. And I've already pre-populated these because that helped me brainstorm and think through. So these are Hey Planner Girl printables where you can change what is written in the sidebar there. And so I have it written down to start to populate what I had from the start of the year. But some of these elements, like morning pages, audiobook, write my book for a 45-minute block. So those are daily habits that while I was trying to brainstorm what I want 2026 to be, I built my habit tracker so that the habits are built. Now, traditionally, I would have done this first and then type everything up into the habit tracker. However, just the way things were timing out, what I had available to me, it worked out that the habit tracker was done first. And what I love about the fact that it's printable and you can change it is I have had years where I modify 1 or 2 or 10, say, habits every month. So maybe I've mastered something and it becomes a habit and I don't need to track it anymore because it becomes instinctive. So if I look back at my, say, 2023 habit tracker and what I've planned for this year, it can look drastically different because over the years, I've built up those habits that are now simply routine. But for me, and if you're watching this as the planner community, you probably understand if it's written down, you're most likely to do it. Even the simple things. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to set this up. Again, very simple, just broad for this year in particular, and then the quarter, and then January. So I will pause here and fast forward through the setup process, and I will see you on the other side. Ciao. All right, I am back. So thanks for hanging in and enjoying some relaxing downtime if you're able to stick around. I am going to now go through what I put together, and I love doing this live because it really does help me think through it. So as I'm writing it, it seems like it takes a long time, possibly because I'm thinking through it on camera. So you see like what my process is like. The process can always change, but I like starting broad and then narrowing it down. And the more you practice in this type of format for your own personal goals, then that translates to when you do that for work or other areas of your life where you have great responsibilities. Um, and so it's just a nice habit to pick up. I have these affirmation post-its from Cloth and Paper. And so I just wrote down 5 that going into the year, I want to remind myself of, I want to believe. Affirmations were really important to me a few years back when my day-to-day like work balance was making me feel really pretty terrible about myself in a way that was newer to me. So I started getting into affirmation practice, and I will say it has helped. So I wrote, I'm resilient. Prioritizing my mental health isn't selfish. I am trustworthy. My past does not equal my future, and I can start each day anew. And so just keeping that top of mind. And so these are some broad goals over the course of this entire 2026 year. So I have no and low spend for non-essentials. I really need to calm down with that and save more. It was, in essence, much wasn't necessary, but at the same time, we were finally able to nest and move into our home. We bought our home, and the next day I had to leave for intensive week at grad school, so we didn't even get to enjoy the house for 2 weeks. And it was just running ragged like that until graduation, which was last June. So from June to December, it was realizing how we wanted our home to feel and filling it with some pieces. I had lost 40 pounds from doing my second bodybuilding show. I needed to get new clothes. They were falling off of me. They didn't look nice. So were they all absolutely necessary? No. But it was nice to do. So I'm just going to curb back on that. I really want to cut back on coffee. I love my coffee as it's here, but I need to stop drinking that after 11 because I don't want it to interfere with my sleep. I want to restart my baseline Audible count. It's been pretty abysmal the last few years. So I want to, like when I'm walking my dog, listen to a book, or cleaning, listen to a book. And so an Audible count is separate from a physical book goal. So I have both because the last few years while I was in working, grad school, prepping for grad school, my other graduate degree, it's just, there wasn't a whole lot of time to read for fun. I want to write for 45 minutes or greater for 200 days of the year. And you'll see that if that's my goal, I build up on that each quarter. I want to generate 1 passive income stream by the end of 2026. And I just wrote that generally. I don't have a dollar amount for what I want that to look like, but I just know by the end of the year, I want something to be coming in. In my effort to have a low, no spend, non-essential year this year, last year, I purchased the Nira laser on super sale, and I plan to use that all this year and actually video to show before and afters because I am now 41 and I have hooded eyes and some very dark circles under my eyes. So I want to see what this does. And if I stick to it for a full year, I would like my reward next year to be the Lima laser because I've heard amazing things about it, but I want to practice wanting as we do for most things, but I'll just, maybe that can be a reward next year. And then dress each day. So I have been, it started out as a challenge that after losing all of the weight, and I said, let me just go through all of my clothing and see what fits, what doesn't, what looks good, what looks awful. And I challenged myself to wear every pair of pants I own and everything I own. And if I put it on, the rule was I either had to, if I didn't like it, take it off immediately and put it in a donate bin, or wear it for the full day, see how I feel by the end of the day, if I would wear it again. If I didn't, I went to the donate bin. So now I have four really large full boxes of clothes to donate. And some of that non-essential spend last year were some clothes. And so I got into this habit that I really loved, which was not wearing loungewear all day long, every day. And not that it's bad, but I wanted to become someone that, at 40, if someone rings the doorbell and I open the door, I actually look polished and I don't look like I rolled out of bed. So I broke that habit. It's been really great. It probably sounds funny, but that's been really nice. I've really enjoyed taking the pride in that. I want to film videos regularly and post on YouTube. We're going to see whether, if 2 times a week is feasible. I would love to do that because I would like to have some themes. Likewise, post on Instagram to connect. I've been off Instagram for a very long time for my mental health. I just wasn't in the best space for some areas, and it just was too hard to be on Instagram all the time. So I fell off, but I'd like to be back on for like a business related posts and help motivate others to share how I use my systems. I want to do a same challenge of, since I went through my clothes, I want to go through the makeup I currently own and toss what I will never use again, what I likely won't use, what doesn't look good on my skin anymore, and just have a good bag where I pull it out and it is my everyday routine, or I pull it out and then simply add to it if I'm going a little above and beyond that day. I want to work out throughout the year. Last year, I did not work out more than a handful of times, which is very, very rare for me, but I did maintain my physique from my bodybuilding show in 2024. So I maintained it all of 2025 with diet and long walks with my dog. But it was just, my nervous system was burned out from school and work and being lower on my anxiety medication, or nearly cold turkey, because I was having a lot of memory impacts with that. So I was nearly off anti-anxiety, but pushing through a very hard mental season for myself at work and school, to push myself to learn how to grow outside of where I had been for years. So the workout was just one more body stress that I didn't feel compelled to do. And I gave myself the grace to be okay with that. But I'm looking forward to getting started again. So that's great. I want to stay on top of home maintenance. That between, again, you'll see a theme between work and school and traveling for school. It was just, if something broke, we would then fix it. But I want to be able to stay ahead of the maintenance this year a little bit better and really start to learn home ownership. What do I need to do each season? What becomes second nature? What are some of the best products? What are some of the best companies? And just play around with that. I need to network. I mentioned that in the past. I am naturally an introvert and it is very challenging for me, but I truly do love genuine relationships. So I just have to change my mindset. And I have a few books on that topic that I'm going to read this quarter and this month. I'm going to keep my boundaries that I established and continue to work on the anxiety that rises while I'm upholding the boundary. I really want to reduce that so this becomes a way of life. And I want to still keep my phone on do not disturb for most of the time. And it's interesting to look back to, say, my 2022 goals. I should actually go back to the archives and pull those out and see what they look like. But that's the whole 1 year. So this last year ties into the broader goals. Again, ignore the 2024 insert. So here we go for each. Now this is the quarter that pulls into more detail from the year setup. So I'm going to document the start of NERA, finish 2 networking books, give myself a break at work 2 to 3 times a week. I tend to be a workaholic. That is not a humble brag. I want to break that habit. It is a habit I have carried over from teaching, because teaching, you never get a break. You work all year round. You have multiple jobs. And that's just what you do to survive. Now I'm realizing for my mental health, to avoid burnout, I need to take breaks, and that's going to be okay. I'm going to work out, start easy, 2 times a week in the morning, and then write on the days I work out, write for 45 minutes after my workout. I'm going to plan the content for this Q1. I have a lot of really great ideas, so I'm excited to work on that this weekend. No spend. So I have no low spend for the quarter, but I want a no spend January. So in a sense, a dry January. My wallet is very dry January. It's not getting any action. Upload my printables. I've been working on some concepts because I find that what I need for work, I'm piecemealing a bunch of things together, and I just simply want to, I had this epiphany that I just need to make my system and post them. Very similar. You'll see it build. So work out twice a week, work out 2 to 3 times a week, work out 3+ times a week. So even if it's the majority 3 times a week and sometimes 4, great. Still write for the 45 minutes by March. If I could write for 45 minutes or longer, that would be great. Hopefully I can build my body up to waking up a little earlier and earlier. If I cut back on the TV and I'm reading, hopefully I'll have a better sleep hygiene routine. And then starting next month, after the month of all of the big bills that hit in January, start doing regular Rocket Money reviews. I signed up for Rocket Money. This is not sponsored. They don't know I exist, but I signed up for Rocket Money and I really liked it last year. So I want to be more diligent about making that a system, creating categories, monitoring. I want to be very on top of every single dollar I make. Document my NERA progress, of course, still read. And then by the end of March, plan for the Q2 content. And I want to film my 90-day results with my NERA. And so that is plenty for a quarter. And then lastly, we get down to January by itself. Now, January, you may say, well, you just planned January in that setup, so why do you have January again? And these are, again, simply broad what I would like to accomplish, so I'd narrow it down. So track NERA use in Tracker, compare before and after photos. So I say document NERA, very broad, but what I want to do is compare the before photos, take all of my prior videos from other facial treatments, build them into a video of where I'm starting. Not only am I trying to correct, I'm trying to maintain. I want to emphasize that. What to do, wake up and immediately go downstairs and work out. And try to get 2 weeks ahead of filming is very specific. Like I said there, I said no low spend, but here it's a no spend on non-essential. Still with the breaks, upload work planner system. That is where I would like to focus for my first uploads. Write for a total of 15 hours. So even if it isn't 45-minute blocks, I want to track the time I am writing and at least hit 15 hours. And my phone is atrocious because there's over 25,000 pictures and videos. I it feels embarrassing. I don't know if other people have that many. It's basically nothing exciting. However, it's screenshots that are reminders, takes up probably a third of that, but I want to just clean up. I saw a hack where if you're in your, at least the iPhone, if you search and you search January, anything taken in any January over the years will come up. Likewise, you can type in January 1st, and all of the January 1st photos every single year will come up. Also, if you have something that says January 1st and it wasn't taken January 1st, it'll show. So I started the challenge a couple years ago, could not stick with it because of all the things. I'd like to try and start that again because it's just ridiculous. And that's that. So I hope this was helpful. I know this might be a lot for some people, but that's okay. So this is simply how my brain processes information. Start broad, get more narrow. If it's written, I will be more likely to do it. I will find this motivating. The planner is beautiful, so I will want to use it. And it just makes planning more fun, sticking to your goals more fun. And there we have it. So we will check back in a little later with this planner specifically with the goals. And I'd really love to hear how you're thinking about your goals. Again, if it's changed from the last video that we put together, and what you're thinking. Where do you find the biggest not setback, but what do you find as the biggest hurdle to overcome when you're trying to think about what your goals are? I would love to know what hurdles you have to get through, because for me, I have a handful. But I'd really love to know, what's your process? What do you push through to make sure that you're taking care of yourself? And if you have any questions, I look forward to hearing from you below. I look forward to your comments. Our community is beautiful. So if you stuck around for the whole video and you were new here, a like and a subscribe would mean a great deal to me. The more followers we have and engagement, the more we can help people. And I look forward to starting to share more of my systems that help me and see if they help you as well. So until next time, thank you for hanging in there with me, and have a wonderful day ahead. And remember, you matter. Bye.